we are in a very, as you say, in a very fascinating time. I like to do comparison between the music industry and the sport industry, and I think the sport industry is living today what the music industry lived in the early 2000s. When Napster came out, suddenly the traditional model based on one single main revenue source, which was selling CDs, disappears from one day to the other because people want to consume content. The content, they wanted to consume the content differently. It took the music industry 25 years to reach the same level of market revenue that they were making they were making in the early 2000s. And it was very interesting because when you hear back in the days, you were hearing all the big music executives, they were saying, oh, piracy is the problem, piracy is the problem, piracy is the problem. Piracy, it's obviously a big problem for the sport industry, but it's not the only problem we have. It's more the challenge of how we understand all different moving pieces, because we're transitioning from a single revenue model to a multiple revenue model that we were discussing. Right?
So, totally, and I again enjoy the comparison. I do share it to a certain point. The only thing I would say is the piracy thing is I think without doubt the biggest threat to our industry right now, and I think all of the work that everyone in the industry is trying to do, and LALIGA doing an incredible job on this space, which again is thinking it's almost philanthropic, because they are thinking not just about and that's why I think LALIGA is so unique, because they get involved in things that are outside their realm of experience. Some of the joint ventures and the work that they do, whether that be in tech or anti-piracy, really impressive and amazing to see. Some of the work that they're doing there is going to be some of the most important work that anyone's doing in the industry right now in terms of content protection, right? I know but then leading back to what you were talking about from the music business, I agree we're going through an evolution. I don't think it's as drastic as what the music business listed, because I don't think for example, I don't think the revenue stream, the traditional one, is dying or going away at all. I think there are, across the world, there are pay TV businesses, there are free-to-air, whether it be commercial or government-led businesses, that will continue to function and provide a fantastic service, and they will continue to have really strong business and continue.
100%.
Right?
I don't think nothing gonna substitute the experience of TV. People say TV is dying, TV is dying, TV is dying. I don't think it's gonna die ever. I think it's an experience that is embedded. It's like, people say 10 years ago that radio was dying, and look now, all the things that you have around podcasts and radio is still very relevant.
Yes.
Medium of communication.
Totally. And I think, however, it is important to think that obviously we're always in the mode of how can we grow, how can we continue to grow, and how can we reach more fans? And yes, you do have these challenges that we mentioned earlier in terms of attention span, people deciding to pay or what to pay with the distribution complexity now that exists. The onus is now on us as the executives and the sports executives in the world think, okay, how are we going to navigate these? Because as we've just seen, for the big tier rights that effectively move subscribers or allow you to build an ad funded revenue or a model, your content's going to be good, right? In terms of you're going to continue to generate good value, and we're continuing to see positive outcomes. That being said, how do you grow? How do you think about this, the complementary mix and the necessary mix of players now? If, for example, you do not tick those two boxes of me being a top tier, me moving a million subscribers from one platform to another, or me moving millions of revenue in advertising from one to another, you're going to have a bit of a more difficult time to start thinking about, okay, what are my options to navigate and to move and be nimble. But the interesting thing for me is, again, new technology is bringing different monetization routes. And I think, funnily enough, in tier 2 and tier 3 and tier 4, these are the areas where most innovation happens. Right. And
it's areas where I think we're going to see more opportunities in the upcoming future. Because you say, right, if you think 10 years ago, a small league had to fight against the top tier to get some visibility and reach fans. Today, a small or mid-tier league, I don't think they can build a very big media business, because in my opinion, most of the media money is going to go to the top tier. But at the same time, they don't need the classic media distribution to reach the fans and grow the fan base, so they have the opportunity to monetize in different ways.
Totally. I completely agree. And again, because ultimately, at the hour of acquiring content, yes, people are looking more at data. Yes, people are becoming more conservative with their approaches, and yes, they are. There is less budget for the nice to haves nowadays, right? So there is even more.
That's a good quote. There's less budget for the nice to have.
But that saying,
it's true.
How do you move that? How do you change that nice to have along the funnel to maturity of a property? I think your strategy always needs to be dependent on where are you in your growth trajectory as a rights holder of property. Yeah. It's going to be very, very different how you should approach a market if you are tier one, huge hitter, and you're talking about hundreds of millions, to then someone that is early on in their growth trajectory that perhaps needs to focus more on eyeballs rather than immediate revenues. Because I think what we're also, again, I'll try and give you another phrase here for which could be relevant. I think the entire industry in general should change from what definitely has been a more transactional relationship between buyer and seller to what should be collaborative, right? In terms of, because again, thinking about the sustainability and thinking about how people are going to find ways to navigate these changing factors in this ecosystem. Give you an example. In the last 10 years, if you ask someone who has been selling content, what has been your best, what has been the best deal of your career? No doubt they will think about a deal in which they think, oh, I got these guys to pay way more than their content is worth. What a great sale. On the other side, if you then think, say, right, what has been your best purchase of content? Surely the guy or girl will say, my best purchase was when I bought something super cheap and my ROI was unbelievable. Now again, I'm not here to paint myself as Mother Teresa here. I think they're both right, and I think both cases are fantastic, and I would be the first one to shake their hand and celebrate that. All I'm saying is right now, I think in the industry, I don't think that almost one-upmanship is necessarily healthy, because what happens after that cycle? If you're in a cycle where you've sold something to someone for way too much money and you know it is going to be so difficult for your partner to then make that money back, they're not going to be in a great spot to renew those rights 3 or 4 years time down the line. So what's going to happen then? What's going to be much more healthy is if you can set a collaborative base in which you have two partners happy. You have the buyer that is happy because they know that the money that they've put down works because they're going to generate revenue, and the seller is happy because they know that they got decent value for what they are, and the fact that it is sustainable for their buyer is a really good thing, right? Mm. So I think, again, moving towards sustainable industry, and again, not trying to paint myself as too much of a saint, but I do think that is necessary right now. I think we're in a situation where we need to be less transactional and less kind of combative, and more collaborative in the way in which we think and the way in which we do deals.